Hey, what's up, everybody? The V Club here, coming at you with another video here. Here's the V Club. All right, anything and everything, nothing's off the table. And man, so much to talk about on the daily. Um, so there's things I wanted to just talk about, share my opinions on, and so let's get to it. All right, before we jump into the foray of things here, I wanted to take note here. Ricky Henderson, all right, Hall of Famer of the Oakland A's. Well, majority of the time, the Oakland A's, I think he had like three different times that he played for the A's, but majority of his career was with the A's. Stolen base record. Had a very unique batting stance, right? Because he crouched down so low that it puts the strike zone in a very small area that it's really hard to strike him out. So, um, it's just one of those things. But he had like stolen base records that, where he had the stolen base record. How about that? Give me 1 second here.
Was the greatest leadoff man
There
in
he
baseball
is.
history, and today we learned Oakland A's legend Ricky Henderson has died. He was known for breaking many records, but perhaps most notably, most stolen bases.
He had like 3 seasons of like 100 stolen bases. And when you think about it, that's a lot. 100 stolen bases in a season, that's a lot.
And he's going to have it. He does. Ricky Henderson, no contest, steals third base, jerks the.
And that was iconic right here, where he stole the base and then picked it up and held it in the air. Stolen base record at the time. Very iconic moment right there in terms of the game, the video, pictures. Very iconic moment.
Bag from its moorings and holds it aloft, representing number 939.
That was May 1st, 1991, an iconic moment when Henderson steals third to pass Lou Brock for the most stolen bases in the history of the game. He celebrated, as you saw, lifting the base over his head.
Lou Brock was a symbol of great base stealing, but today I'm the greatest of all time. Thank you.
Yeah, proud son of the town, Henderson's roots in Oakland run deep.
That's true. He went to Oakland.
Yeah, 3 stints. I don't know if they'll ever show his batting stance, but he had a very low batting stance that, like, I don't know if they'll show
Tech
it.
High School, played 14 seasons with the A's. Henderson is a 10-time All-Star and an all-time leader
let's see
in runs
here.
and
Who do
stolen
we have
bases.
here?
The news of his death comes just before his Christmas birthday, when he would have celebrated his 66th birthday.
It's pretty young.
200 with a single he picked up in the first inning and a walk.
Ricky Henderson was a gift to the
me, that's
world
a
of
very low
sports.
stance.
Born on Christmas Day in Chicago, but he spent much of his childhood in Oakland. The magnificent high school running back eventually turned down multiple football scholarships to sign with the Oakland Athletics in 1976.
I didn't know you had a
The
football
Oakland organization,
offer.
the city of Oakland.
Henderson played for 9 teams over his 25-year career, with a stolen base his signature. The Man of Steel, they called him, and the record moment happening at the Coliseum in 1991 when he eclipsed 939 stolen bases. Then Henderson ran away with it and ended up collecting 1,406 by the end of his career.
1-0 deficit. Ricky goes. A pitch.
He was fast, but also known as the greatest leadoff hitter of all time. 81 game-starting dingers and a celebration with such flair that only someone like Henderson could bring. He was also a world champion twice. Henderson helped take the A's all the way to the top in 1989 and then in 1993 with Toronto. The left fielder was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame in 2009. His last public appearance with the A's was at the Oakland Coliseum, throwing out the first pitch for the A's final home game. Ricky Henderson
Oh,
was
nice. He actually
65
made it to the
years
home
old.
game.
Henderson Field.
They said he died of pneumonia, and so I was like, man, but so young though, only 65. That's pretty young. But yeah, I know that pneumonia can hit you pretty hard depending on your age and all that. But that's crazy though, just to think about. But yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys. Ricky Henderson died, a couple days ago here, and Yeah, fascinating player and career. Um, let's see what else we got going on over here. I don't know if you guys know about Haktua, the scam here. Um, it's a crypto. If you like crypto, she didn't facilitate it. She was more of like the face person for it, and it all fell under her because the scammers that worked, I guess, for her scammed under her and then left her hanging, and so she has to be the person now, um, to be responsible for all the money that got scammed. It's crazy. I don't know too deep into the details of that, but I've been seeing a lot of that. And when I see this right here, degree requirement removed for at least 30,000 jobs in California, to me, it's just dumbing down California because California has one of the worst education systems uh, in the United States, like one of the worst states. Like being that we're supposed to be like the fifth largest economy, we spend a lot of money in California to have terrible homeless situation, terrible budget, terrible everything, right? High prices, but yet we're among the lowest in terms of this education when it comes to like we're like 43rd out of 50 or something like that. And it's like we shouldn't even be that low because of everything that California is about and all the money that's being spent. Now this is like, what kind of shit is that? Let's see what they have to say about that.
At Sutter, being there when you need us never stops.
No college degree, no problem. A new pathway laid out in California for people to find gainful and lucrative employment without the need of a degree. Gavin Newsom laying out his blueprint this week in efforts to bridge the income gap in the Golden State, including a digital tool.
Why? Because cost of living is so high and you're taxing everybody, and cost of just everything is so much because of inflation. So maybe that's part of the reason why, besides dumbing down California, is to remove the degree requirement to make the pathway easier to get a job. Because, yeah, let's face it, it's hard to get a job if you don't have a degree in some things. And, they raise the bar so high in terms of you got to get a degree, right, to get a good paying job. Because that separates you from the low skilled workers, right? Low skilled to arguably you could say migrant workers as well. And to me, they're doing that, um, to make it look like on the surface, oh, it's to help you guys out. But in the end, it's to dumb down California, is what I truly think.
Tool he's calling a career passport that will store transcripts and trade certificates, along with a statewide effort to provide wider access to job training, starting with high schools. This comes as college costs continue to soar, making many weigh the value of a higher education.
I wonder
Nothing
why.
like this that we're aware of in the country exists. This level of detailed economic and workforce development, bottom up, not top down, funded in real time, with the practical application taking shape at the same time that we rev up the programs and strategies.
Well, maybe in hindsight as well, maybe what it can do is it'll ease the student loan forgiveness bullshit that they do anyways. So they're just trying to find a way to not for you to go to college. That way, it eases the burden of them forgiving loans that they shouldn't be forgiving in the first place. And it doesn't build up that sort of debt. So maybe that's what they're trying to do in this regard. But it's still dumbing down California and what they're trying to do here.
Jessica Kriegel is the Chief Strategy Officer of Workplace Culture with
All right, whatever. All right, let's see here. So, one of the other biggest news too is Biden signs a spending bill that averts government shutdown. What's interesting about that is
Listen,
they originally proposed
somebody's trying to hack your website
like a
right
1,500-page document outlining, this budget they're trying to pass. And Elon Musk took a look at it and said, nah, hey, Trump, don't sign this thing, all right? There's so much pork in this thing, and pork meaning frivolous bullshit spending that the Democrats try to throw in there and tuck in there under stuff that they really got to spend on. But they add all this pork shit in it, like bullshit projects and all this bullshit. So they cut it down from 1,500 pages to like 100 pages of stuff that needs to be passed. They prioritize with the needs and not some pork project bullshit in there. So they cut all that stuff down and, presented the bill, and then it got passed, and then Biden signed it.
And signed that new spending bill, that continuing resolution that passed Congress overnight. The bill includes $100 billion for disaster relief funds, which would help those victims of Hurricanes Helene and Milton on the East Coast. There's also $10 billion for farmers who've been struggling with the cost of production, inflation. It does not include suspending the debt ceiling, something President-elect Trump had been pushing for. Many eyes on Elon Musk through all of this, the billionaire playing a key role in budget talks. He's a major influencer for this new administration, calling.
Well, let's think about it, though, like Trump, Elon, even Vivek, right? Business people know how to run a business. They know how to budget. So when they see things, streamline things, work with things, to me, I think it's a positive. I think it's a great thing. It's good that they're careful looking at the spending of what's going on and remove all the pork shit. So, yeah,
the early version of the spending bill criminal. News Nation's Alina Shirazi is joining me right now live from Washington, D.C. Alina, good to see you on a Saturday. President-elect Trump selecting Musk to co-lead DOGE. But, how is this week kind of giving us a preview of what's to come and questions that some might have?
Yeah, Adrian, good to be with you. That's the big question here. Musk, he really quickly went from a billionaire's world to being fully launched in the world of politics. You called him an influencer. That is pretty accurate. He's one of Donald Trump's closest allies, and he definitely put his influence on full display.
Speaking of that, it's funny what the liberal, progressive liberal media, the CNNs, the MSNBCs and all that, they're trying to make this whole conspiracy of who's really running president. Is it Elon president and he just, running it under Trump? And, they're trying to make it look like Elon's running it. They're trying to make it look like they're going to eventually go at each other. And it's like, nah, man, they're far off. And they're trying to start something that is really not of anything, no substance whatsoever. And they're just upset because they're doing something right for a change. I mean, it's been so bad for so long with Biden and, the whole administration, the bullshit, the lies, and gaslighting. They can't end soon enough. In less than a month, they'll be gone for good, and we don't have to deal with their bullshit anymore. But yeah, you couldn't have seen a better. Already, hands down, Trump has picked a very good selection of people that will really reshape the direction of this country.
During the government spending fight that we've been reporting on, we saw this play out this week, full front, when Elon Musk called to the budget proposal. He used his, as they're calling it, X megaphone to air out complaints about the bill in its then current form. We know Musk warned Republicans to fall in line or get ready to be kicked out of his office. He's also planning to unseat Democrats in deep blue districts and replace them with more moderate candidates. And remember, Musk, here's what he did, spend $250 million, we remember that, to help Trump win back the White House. Some people even called it the Musk pressure campaign. But before the deal was reached, Adrian, Democrats even took to social media mocking Republicans, saying Trump had been essentially moved to the role of vice president. A Democratic congressman from California, Eric Swalwell, posting, quote, "People are saying that Trump is the VP and Elon is the president, but that's not accurate. Trump is more like press secretary. Trump is the mouth and Elon is the muscle." Certainly, though, how...
All right, well, if you look at the other end of the spectrum here, check this out. If Biden, because now that news has been out that everything about what's been going on recently in the news about how, when you look at it, there's been a cover-up on the Biden's mental decline since the beginning of his presidency. It's all being said since the beginning of the presidency. All right, when we look at that, let's take a look at this here. All right, that the mental health decline was already happening and that they were already doing things. Let me see here. It was reported by the Wall Street Journal. And it's funny how all of a sudden they finally come out and say, oh, you know what? We've already been seeing it for some time now. And we should have made a bigger point of mentioning it or talking about it. But then at the same time, they also admitted that if you were to go anything against Biden or the Progressive Party or Liberal Party or whatever, that you're shunned, right? You're so bad they would shun you, and they would try to destroy you for just even talking negative about anything to do with Biden or anything progressive, which is pretty crazy. And so let's see what they say here.
Was out with a new bombshell report where they spoke to about 50 people or more involved in the Biden White House who say that Biden's mental capacity was diminished well before it was reported on in the press. This article is titled "How the White House Functioned with a Diminished Biden in Charge," and it's getting a lot of rounds on social media. And Kevin, White House spokesman Andrew Bates responded to the piece.
He did. To quote Andrew Bates, White House spokesman, said that the president earned the most accomplished record of any modern commander-in-chief and rebuilt the middle class because of his attention to policy details that impact millions of lives. Bates, who rejected the notion that Biden has declined, added that the president has often solicited opinions from outside experts, which has informed his policy making. So certainly Biden...
So if you want to ask the very question, who was really running the country these last 4 years, all right, that's the question. Who's been running it? His advisors? Because he was certainly just a mouthpiece, fed lines, and read teleprompts. But was he truly making the decision? You know what I'm saying? It was his advisors, whomever was advising him was running the country this whole time, down this progressive rabbit hole, if you call it that. And that was what was happening here. So don't bullshit me with, oh, Elon is this and Trump is the vice president or Trump is the secretary. How about this? The reality was that Biden never ran the country.
White House in the final days and weeks of this administration in response and defense mode over this report, as you rightly point out in the Wall Street Journal, Amber.
Yeah, it's a huge deal. I mean, this is putting on paper what was speculated for a long time. Even during the 2020 campaign, it was sort of a calling card of Trump and his allies to say that it was Basement Joe, staying in the basement, Sleepy Joe, right? That he had this poor physical and mental performance. But this was rejected as a conspiracy theory at the time. Now this Wall Street Journal article with, again, nearly 50 sources, including people as high as aides to cabinet members and senior level
progressive,
officials, saying actually as early as spring of
liberal
2021
media,
they were canceling meetings on Biden's behalf because
gaslit,
he had good days and
hid,
bad days.
Which we all do from time
all
to time.
were complicit in this whole cover-up.
And
it really shows you how corrupt
the debate
liberal Democrat, just Democrats in general, how corrupt they are. And all the liberal media that supported the Democrats are all corrupt
and you can clearly
and
see
trash.
Joe Biden, a difference in Joe Biden, the candidate in 2020. Who ran a great campaign, still got the most number of votes of any presidential candidate in history in that 2020 election.
I think the problem was everybody had to really just stay home and stay put, and they had nothing else to do but vote at that time because of COVID.
Taking the fight to incumbent President Trump. But certainly
there's definitely a question as to if that election was hijacked or stolen because of all these facts that have come out. Whether it was the election machine, the voting machines, to all these different things that were happening, all these conspiracies that have, in revelations, have come true. Hunter Biden laptop, everything. It was possible that Trump probably could have won the presidency back then.
there is obviously a difference that we've seen over the past several years.
How they orchestrated the whole January 6th riot, right? I mean, it goes on and on. How bad.
Years with the president. Now,
it's just funny how it
as
is.
Bates points out, with that condition and that situation, he's still accomplished a great deal of many legislative priorities for this country and is handing a country in pretty good shape to the president.
Get the fuck out of here. You hear that shit? Handing the country in a pretty good. Get the fuck out of here, man. I don't even want to listen to this guy no more. The point of it is, Wall Street Journal came out with this damning article, which is true, about what happened, and how the presidency really was with Biden, diminished mental capacities and all that stuff. And it's funny how they covered it up all this time, and now it's finally come out after the fact, right? All this stuff that comes out after the fact really shows you how much,
I was speaking with
Democrats are just liars, and they just bullshit and gaslight and lie to you all the time in your face, all right? And so that's all I got to say about that. And one bitter person is here, Lindy Lee. All right, all right. The Democrats are now attacking just because she's telling the truth and telling facts, because she's a campaign financer, right? So she is going out there trying to support, the Democrat cause and give reason as to why you should vote for Kamala and all that. So she has to speak to the people that are giving her funds, right? And when they lose, she's pretty upset about the fact that, she has to explain everything to these people about why they lost their money when they really don't have an explanation as to why all that money's gone. And when you kind of find all the stuff that's been going on in the Democrat Party, she feels betrayed, right? And so when she's speaking about it, it's like, wow, and then you start to really see deep down what Democrats are all about, right? That they are not really who they say they are. That, when it comes to being the People's Party and all this other stuff, they pushed away the unions. They did all kinds of stuff. And it just really shows you that Democrats are all about elites, and they're not about the working people. They're about migrants because they're trying to, about the elites, and then about the migrants because they want the migrants to support the elites, almost like slaves if you really think about that, and then push out the middle class. And she's finally seeing that, right? A lot of Democrats are really starting to open their eyes and see what's really happening here. And so she's seeing that for herself before her eyes. It's very interesting to see. But anyhow, I just wanted to share this with you guys. Let me know what you think about all the stuff that's been going on, about the whole Biden's mental health decline that everybody and their mama already knew, but they kept on, having in this sort of cover-up mode for the last 4 years. And so I guess now, because they lost, that the truth has come out, shows you that Democrats are liars. Ricky Henderson passed away. They passed the whole federal spending bill, so it doesn't go into this sort of, what do they call a stall going into the new year. And Gavin Newsom dumbing down California. All right, let me know what you think. Comment down below. I'll subscribe, hit the bell icon. I'll see you next one.